I started off in football and I wanted to be a centre forward. I wanted to be the one scoring all the goals, being the hero, smashing in hat tricks, all of that sort of fun stuff. But quickly realised that in essence I was shit. I was absolutely rascal. And it was one of them where I was a little bit chubbier as a youngster, I was a little bit bigger in comparison to all the lads at the time, and one of the parents sort of turned around and looked and said, "Tom, do us a favour, mate, go in goal." I was the goalkeeper and quickly realised that I was also shit at that. But I was adamant that if that was where they were going to put me, I was going to get better. I wanted to improve. I'm just thinking now, I remember speaking to my dad at the time when we needed to get some kit, so I had the full-on Sondico gloves, the Sondico bottoms, the shin pads with the ankle guards on, like just you look like a Michelin man. And as I said, I was chubby already, so I just looked like a mini Swiss ball. It was, on reflection, it was quite funny. One of the first games that we ever played, and this was for a Saturday league team. I remember one of the dads was a linesman, and you know, at the time you just got like a bib or a t-shirt and the dad was a lino and just like always gave the wrong decisions. I remember us losing, not even up to like half time, and I swear it was like 11-0 or something like that. And he just turned around and looked and it was like, oh, fuck it. And it just set me off. I was in fucking floods of tears. And it was that game where it was either make or break, and it was either like, right, I need to find another sport or you've got to get better. So it just shows naturally that I wanted to get better and improve, and I started learning how to catch the ball, learning how to dive properly. Some may say I never fucking did, but in essence that's where it began. And this is where I made it my mission to get better than I was the previous session and the previous game before. And I'm saying that now because on reflection, that is how I operate today. Slowly over a period of time, I evolved, I improved, I grew into myself a little bit more, and eventually from the Saturday League team, I then went on a trial for Cheltenham Town, played there for about a year, got released, didn't quite make the grade, went to Warwickshire College, played there for 2 years, before I then embarked on a 4.5-year scholarship in the USA. Now, for anybody who's been on a scholarship to the USA, understand that you do actually get treated like a fucking professional, like an athlete. And rightly so, because that's the scholarship system and that's just how they operate, and I fucking loved it. It was really top class. What's the point of this story? What's the point of me telling you a little bit about this journey? Well, from the age of sort of 12 to 22, yes, I didn't make it as a professional, but I was exposed to the elements of being a professional and sort of treating myself like an athlete. There's a few concepts in which I learned. One thing you have to practice is the mental side of things. It's very much visualization game. It's a visualization process. And I didn't realize at the time how much respect that I've now got for this whole game of fitness, training, lifestyle. Is all a mindset game. It's all starts with the mind, it starts with you, it starts with the brain, it starts with the stories that you tell yourself, it starts with the concept of visualizing and all of that sort of stuff. Now, I don't want to get too cliche with it because there's lots of stuff that you can read, the law of vibration, the secret and all that sort of thing, and in essence all those sorts of things tell you and guide you upon, and please respect the fact that I'm not a professional with this subject, but from what I gather from it is what you're doing by visualization is your brain doesn't really recognize the difference between reality and what it thinks. So what you're trying to do with the concept of visualization is visualizing those things happening. So for me, when it was being in goal and being a goalkeeper, I visualized me making top hand saves, taking crosses, saving 1v1s. Now, listen, I was nowhere near consistent at doing that, but I definitely had a massive respect for recognising that if you visualise that happening, you will more than likely take the action required in order to complete the task that you're starting to visualize. So if it's anything that I could take from a career, sort of a very mediocre career in football, it's the concept of the mind. You have to get good at visualizing something that you want before you've even achieved it. And that is your motivation to create action. Then they work hand in hand. The action then creates the motivation, and so on and so on and so on. And the second thing I want to get across, and please forgive me, I am going on a fucking tangent on this, but you have to get good at being 1% better than what you were yesterday. If you have that process and just simplify it on the day, you want to get better today than what you were yesterday and compound that effect. That in itself is enough motivation to keep pushing forwards. Because no disrespect, what's the fucking alternative? You remain the same. Like, there's no challenge, and without challenge there's no growth. So if you don't push yourself that 1% better, and that could be the simplest of things, in order for you to sort of get better today at whatever it is, it could be training, it could be mindset, it could be career, it could be whatever, but expose yourself to them environments of challenge, then you will grow. And then that effect in itself, for me personally, that is enough for me to be motivated, to keep pushing on, to keep persevering, to get better, to serve people better, to give more value to whoever's watching. So they're the sort of two things that I want to give to you today within this short story, is get good at visualizing you getting better. The byproduct of doing that is you then shows you the actions that you need to be taken. But then it's up to you to create that action. You've got to step into it. You've got to be willing to take the hits from it. You've got to be willing to understand that failure is part of the process in order for you to get better, to get 1% better.